Hello, and welcome to today's session. As always, I'm your host, Kevin Grote, Staff Systems Engineer here at VMware. We're back again with another quarter of fantastic enablement. We've got lots of stuff to talk about. Everything around end user compute, as well as content on vSAN and so much more. So today, we're going to be double-clicking in to WorkspaceONE. Now, a lot of you may have heard a little bit about WorkspaceONE, but today we're going to be looking at an introduction from a technical perspective, what it means to have things like app volumes, horizon, as well as workspace, and then attaching MDM components from AirWatch inside of that space, so that we're able to provide to our customers a clear and holistic offering that covers them inside of their end user compute needs. So as we look at WorkspaceONE, keep in mind some clear ideas, that it's not just about end user compute. It's also about all the things that end user compute touches, like virtual SAN, NSX for software defined networking and security, as well as operationalizing and monitoring with things like vRealize operations. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start talking more about what you can expect from WorkspaceONE. So when we start to look at WorkspaceONE, it's important to remember that WorkspaceONE is really a composition of several different components, including app volumes, horizon, and certain components of AirWatch that lend to increased flexibility with mobile device, content, email, and application management. You know, WorkspaceONE exists to address specific sets of needs. When I was an IT admin, I remember the very first time an executive came in with that brand new very first iPhone, right? And he brought the thing in and we're sitting there looking at it going, wow, okay, this is really cool. But after about 30 minutes of oohing and ahhing over, this new touchscreen technology, we started to think, geez, he's going to want email on this. How are we going to deal with that? And that's really where it all started. And it's only grown and exploded from there to the point where now users are just driving IT into consumerization. They don't want to use the device that IT gives them. They want to use the device that they like in, rose gold or shiny black or, whatever the heck it is. That's what they want. And that's what they want to use. And that's what they're going to insist upon. And it's going to be across all different sorts of platforms. It's not just Apple devices, it's Windows devices, it's Android devices, it's Mac devices, all of these things all being attached into the same space. And so today we have to look not only at the device, but also what they're doing with it. They're going out, and if they don't have the application that they need provided by their own IT teams, they're going to go out and find the one that they need. They're going to go out and find a SaaS-based application or some application they can download that they can leverage inside of their device. And so we've got that to deal with as well. This leads VMware to a space where we realize very clearly that through WorkspaceONE, our vision is to provide a digital workspace that is consumer simple, yet still enterprise secure. Something that allows consumers to feel like they still have charge over their environments and their devices. Yet at the same time, the enterprise and IT still understands and feels that they can do what they need to do to secure the data on the back end. WorkspaceONE is really about flexibility. This allows the employee themselves to be really in control of what's happening. Everything from just zero management all the way into complete management. Now, this isn't saying that, IT doesn't get any say in it. Maybe we've got devices that are corporate issued, or devices that the employee issues and runs themselves. Maybe we've got stuff where we have unmanaged devices, versus completely managed devices. So it's about giving employees and users choice without sacrificing the flexibility and security inside of the enterprise end. WorkspaceONE allows us to bring all of these features to bear. Self-service access to applications, digital workspaces, being able to allow users to choose their own devices inside of this space, and to be able to do things like secure email and content. This can't be underlined enough. If we talk about, an instance where you might have a user that's leveraging, Instagram or Facebook or other forms of social media, whatever it is, and on the same machine, they also have, secured email collateral or data collateral. We want to be very, very cautious about the types of things they can move from one application to another. So being able to secure that and to create logical isolations between those things is imperative and tantamount to the success of your end user compute deployment. And also being able to provide conditional access, and we'll talk more about that later. And then to be able to scale this in a meaningful way. So let's look first at self-service access. Being able to give users the ability to, open up a box with their brand new tablet and power it on and have it ask them to put on their fingerprint. So no longer do users have to know the password. If anything, it's a good idea for us to obfuscate that password, because now the user is no longer responsible for a piece of information that really only they know. And they would always have to go back to IT and say, hey, can you reset that for me again and again and again? Or they forget it, or they type it in wrong and it creates an error. Now, their fingerprint is their point of access. So biometric integration is key. And then to be able to tailor branding. So it's not, hey, here's your new VMware tablet. This is, Acme Corporation or whatever it is, and be able to tailor that branding so they have a unique experience that is comfortable and familiar with them. And also through leveraging User Environment Manager to be able to provide a consistent experience across all of their devices. And this access gets them into everything they need. Those of you that remember Workspace and worked with it in the past know that it's about giving ubiquitous and far-reaching access to everything. Now, this includes legacy applications, maybe thin-app applications, SAML-based applications like Google and Salesforce and OneDrive and all of those sorts of things, and even SaaS applications, maybe Dropbox or Box or Slack or anything inside of those realms, internal web apps, as well as applications that have been created with things like app volumes. And let's not forget applications that may already be sitting inside of legacy. Maybe they've got an existing Zen app environment. They could go ahead and attach those applications inside of this space so that it's not a full rip and replace and change up. They can leverage their existing investments. You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times. What VMware does is about leveraging existing investments and providing greater scalability into the ecosystem. Not only this, but then also giving them access into virtualized desktops so they can access their VMs from the same device in case they need a full desktop experience. And then to be able to do all of this with VMware's mobile single sign-on. So again, having that trust identification and be able to leverage biometrics and digital keys to not only provide access to applications and services that exist inside of the data center, but like I said, maybe even SAML-based applications where we can federate forward so that we're not having to wind and unwind users as they're being onboarded and offboarded inside of companies or different divisions. This really gives users the ability to kind of just log in and go from anywhere. They get the box, they open it up, and they're ready to roll. So if we look at it, we've got, the user chooses their device, and then right out of the box, they're going to be asked to provide their Touch ID. They enter that, and then all of a sudden, they've got all of this great access to everything they need. And we're able to align it with policies as well, so that maybe they're not going to get the same access on every network, or they're not going to get the same access depending upon the type of peripheral that's plugged in. And that's very important. Like I said, we can't underline the concepts of secure email and social media and content enough. Being able to really secure through Content Locker and to be able to leverage secure email gateways and secure applications inside of the device itself allows us to ensure that information cannot be copied and pasted from one point to another, and that we don't have an intermingling of potentially feral information that could be disruptive to the corporation. Conditional access is another one. Being able to use the user themselves as the control point, where their access of the resources is what's determining what they get access to. Whether it's cloud-based applications, on-premise, or just applications that exist inside of the device, and to be able to do this based upon how they're accessing it. And like we said, their identity is the access. And so, based upon what they're doing, we're able to ensure that whatever the device brings us, whether it's jailbroken, whether it's dealing in malware, or whether there's blacklisted applications, we're able to address these through adaptive authentication so that we can provide a secure method to allow both internally built and public applications to access corporate resources that are residing inside of the network on a per application basis. So this really gives us that flexibility of policy security. And conditional access goes even further to talk about per app VPN. You might have seen the other demonstration, where we showed a dashboard, and the dashboard may have multiple components, and to a user, they're just seeing they've got a bunch of resources. What they don't see is that each one of those resources is tied to a data stream. And based upon where they exist, that data stream may or may not be secure or safe to view. And so per application VPN allows us to granularly control the data streams that are being accessed by the user. We can also integrate clearly with intelligent networking with NSX. And also to be able to provide device and usage analytics. How are the applications being leveraged? How are the data streams being utilized? What are they accessing? How are they accessing it? And where are they accessing it from? This allows IT to follow user behavior and create more intelligent policies as they go. And then to be able to automate in a scalable way. IT used to have to build an entire operating system stack and then install all the applications and then manage everything. Now all they have to do is just focus on the apps, and then WorkspaceONE will take care of all of the background complexity. So now IT can really easily manage Windows apps in real time from a single platform while still maintaining control they've always had. So with this, now we've got applications that someone can fire and run directly inside of WorkspaceONE, again, with consistent experience across their entire device platform set. Also allowing us to have virtual application and desktop delivery, to create smart groups that align to policies, and also to be able to remote configure these applications. It's really about tying in people, applications, and devices all together. Because people are going to do all sorts of different things, but we have to stay fluid. And that's what WorkspaceONE means to us. So if we look at kind of a high level of all the different things that are at work here, we've got, a device that's accessing remote apps, web apps, native apps, SAML applications, packaged applications, virtual desktops, all of these different things. And inside of WorkspaceONE, we're able to integrate with existing Active Directory or other forms of security modules to align with mobile SSO, and to be able to take WorkspaceONE to provide that application service through the authentication module, and to be able to deliver those remote apps, web apps, native apps, packaged apps, regardless of the device posture or the identity rules, whether they're leveraging our own identity manager or third-party authentication. So leveraging things like session time, network scope, like we said, per application VPN, being able to be aware of the location of the device, blacklisted applications, malware, jailbreaks, so that they're still able to get what they need, but they're able to get it based upon the policies that apply to the device that they're using. Because of this, IT can then, again, develop clear policies, define points of escalation, and then automate the actions that align to it. WorkspaceONE is available in 3 flavors: standard, advanced, and enterprise. And then inside of this space, we're able to bring users what they need when they need it. So just remember, when we're talking about WorkspaceONE, we're talking about a clear set of innovations. Mobile single sign-on, being able to provide any app, anywhere, anytime, on any device, and to be able to provide conditional access and secure messaging and content points for those users. That, at its core, is what WorkspaceONE brings to market. So that's a lot of great content around WorkspaceONE. Now we have a really cool demonstration video that I'd like to share with you. Take a look at this.
Hello, my name is Marilyn Basanta from VMware's End User Computing Group. I'd like to talk to you today about what it's like to experience the digital workspace. The digital workspace is powered by WorkspaceONE, which is the simple and secure enterprise platform that delivers and manages any application on any device by integrating identity, applications, and enterprise mobility management. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So every day we come into work and we all have the same struggles. We have multiple devices, mobile devices, and we all have to log in with either multiple passwords or different tokens. Perhaps we have to look up our server address for these different applications. Either way, this experience of having to remember all this information is not ideal and not what your end user expects. So we've gone ahead and cooked up a little scenario to show you what the experience is like to onboard a brand new employee with WorkspaceONE. As a new employee, perhaps one that works off-site, they can be FedExed a new iPad and they can take it out of the box, switch it on, and it can auto-configure itself. On the back end, we are hooking up Identity Manager, AirWatch, and we're automatically configuring this iPad to give you the right access to the right set of applications. It may look simple with a few clicks, but in the back end, we've taken away the complexity from your end users. Now that we're all configured, let's go ahead and fire up the WorkspaceONE application. And it has a launcher and a brand new unified single catalog. Matched with my single identity will give me access to all the applications I need to get my work done. Some of my applications you can see are being pushed down as part of my enrollment, and other applications I can install on demand from the catalog that can help me get my day-to-day job done. So there are apps like Boxer, Box, OneDrive, all of the apps that we need. What about passwords? So as you saw, we have single sign-on, and with my single identity, I've only logged in once when I enrolled, but I have access to web apps, native apps, Horizon apps, and we can also support Citrix applications as well. So let's take a look at these applications in action. We can go into DocuSign, and as you can see, I've automatically been logged in because our identity is known by the WorkspaceONE system. I didn't have to put in server information or password. I can just go in and start getting my work done. Next, let's take a look at Salesforce. My logon experience was beautiful, easy, and seamless, and I can get right to work. Now, the next set of applications is all about communication. So let's first take a look at the Boxer application, which is one of our recent acquisitions. This email application is a great user experience. It's such a cool client. You can do swipe gestures to move away spam, or if we get important emails, I can swipe left or right to like or dislike, of course, depending who it's from. And we have a customizable action palette as part of the client to make it easy to set up gestures to do repeat actions. It's just a really nice experience. So that's email. Next, let's do something a little more real time. Chat is everywhere in the enterprise. So let's go ahead and here go to a private chat room, type in a quick message to one of my users and hit send. It was an easy way to collaborate using the new SocialCast chat feature. And lastly, let's bring together content. For content, we have Content Locker. In Content Locker, you can see all the different resources such as Box, Google Drive, SharePoint, OneDrive, and even Windows file shares that Content Locker brings together with just one single identity, so I have access to all of my different resources. And finally, let's deliver a 3D Horizon application such as AutoCAD so you can see a great user experience, bringing our existing on-prem applications onto our mobile devices. Next, let's talk a little bit more about single sign-on. And we want to announce Mobile SSO, or Secure App Token System, a patent-pending technology. We are the first company to take a SaaS or mobile app and be able to establish a trust to the enterprise through WorkspaceONE to deliver this great user experience. Single sign-on, which is far more secure than passwords or tokens. Lastly, let's bring our own device into the enterprise. I can have the same experience with WorkspaceONE, and I can use Touch ID as my method of authentication. Now you can see in the WorkspaceONE application, I've got the same applications as you saw on my iPad that are being sent to my iPhone. So if we go ahead and look at Boxer, you can see that I have a few updated emails and I can do a swipe gesture to archive them. Or I can launch the native Salesforce application, which was already pushed onto my device. And of course, since I'm already signed in with SSO, I'm able to quickly get on and continue to do my work from my own device. Next, let's move on to Windows 10. So let's take this Windows 10 laptop and we can add it to our enterprise infrastructure. We can take advantage of the normal Windows 10 enrollment flows, go to Work Access, put in our corporate email, and be able to connect to our WorkspaceONE instance. In the background, Identity and AirWatch are being connected and pushing down the enrollment of WorkspaceONE. I can go ahead and sign in, and you can see I've got the same launcher with all of my different applications and the same unified catalog that gives me access to additional applications. It's the same user experience. I can go ahead and again launch the Salesforce application and continue to work no matter what device I'm on. And lastly, I want to touch upon security. In particular, Office document security. One of the major issues that come up with IT when you take these type of initiatives is data loss. And sometimes data loss happens on accident rather than maliciously. People in your enterprise accidentally leaking information. But let's go ahead and show you an example. This Windows 10 device is enrolled in WorkspaceONE. I have my work documents that are encrypted to my enterprise. So as you can see, Word is a managed application that I'm allowing the user to access these documents from. And since I'm so excited, let me go ahead and copy some of this text that I'm going to try to tweet out to my followers. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the text and I'm going to launch Twitter from the Start menu. You will see that managed applications have badges next to them to signify that they are secure. So if I try to paste in this text, I'm going to get a pop-up box that says, cannot move encrypted content here, since I'm not allowed to copy encrypted information onto this application. Next, let's go ahead and try to load the Word document in a different application. So if I try to launch this in Notepad, which is not an authorized application, I also get an access denied. So let's say now your employee is leaving the company. We have to be able to securely wipe and remove all corporate data from this device. So very easily, I can log onto the AirWatch admin console, search for my user, click all of their different devices, and with one click, delete them off the system. And as easy as that, all of your corporate data is gone from all of the devices from your user. So now you've seen a high-level overview of what it's like to experience the digital workspace with WorkspaceONE.
Thanks again for taking time with me today. Hopefully you found this information valuable as always. I look forward to talking to you again soon, and until then, be sure to reach out to your local engineering and sales teams for more information on these fantastic products and so much more. And be sure to check out the playlists here for more content regarding end-user compute, software-defined data center, mobility, storage, and software-defined networking, and more. And also, be sure to follow me on Twitter for more updates. Thanks again, have a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again really soon.